Today on Two Crazy Ketos, we're going to be making a rich, decadent dessert.
And this happens to be one of my favorites.
And you can enjoy it on both keto and carnivore. Hey, what's up, family? I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
Two Crazy Ketos. Welcome back to the channel. I'm super excited for today's recipe video because today we're going to be making one of my favorite desserts.
It's one of my favorite desserts as well. Today we are going to be making a keto and even carnivore-friendly version of flan.
Now, I want to say right off the bat, this is technically a dessert. However, you could be eating this for breakfast, lunch, or dinner because it is high protein and a decent amount of fat. I also want to say we are making this with sweetener, which I guess for most people technically is not carnivore, but you can completely eliminate the sweetener and just have a really nice egg custard without any kind of sweetness.
Absolutely.
So before you start typing down below that this isn't carnivore, there is a carnivore option. All you have to do is eliminate the sweetener.
And let me tell you, this is delicious. When you're saying that this is a breakfast option, I will be taking that option.
Now, I do want to say this is a very easy recipe to make.
How easy is it?
It is so easy, even Rachel can make it.
I am so excited to hear that because this is not just a dessert that we love, but it's actually something the kiddos love. So I'm excited about maybe bringing this to our next family potluck.
Now, before we get into the ingredients that you're going to need, I do want to invite you to please make sure that you like this video. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel and hitting that little bell button so that you're notified when we upload new videos. And also, if you do want to support us any further, consider using some of the links down below or buy us a cup of coffee. Let's get right into the ingredients that we're going to need. The first thing we're going to need is some almond milk. Now, I know some people are not going to want to use almond milk, and that's completely fine. You could use just water, but I want to have a little bit of flavor. So again, almond milk is going to be a keto version. If you want to make this a more carnivore version, eliminate the almond milk and just use straight water. Next thing we're going to be using is some heavy cream.
Hello, carnivore.
We're going to need some cream cheese.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to need some eggs. Specifically, you're going to need 3 whole large eggs and 1 egg yolk. Then we're going to need some optional vanilla. Again, keto version, use vanilla extract. If you want a carnivore version, don't use any vanilla extract. And then we're going to need some salt, which is going to be both keto and carnivore. Anybody who wants to say salt's not carnivore, I don't know what to tell you.
What you talking about? Okay,
last 2 ingredients. Again, carnivore, eliminate it. Keto, keep them in there. We're going to use a sweetener. You can use any keto-friendly sweetener you want. I got picked up something at Walmart. This is the Splenda Magic Baker, which is probably my favorite one that they make. Now, before anybody says anything about the Splenda here, this version of Splenda is just 3 ingredients. It is erythritol, allulose, and stevia. So they're not putting any dextrose or anything in there. You have to be careful when it comes to Splenda. If you just get plain like the yellow bag of Splenda, that's not a good one. You got to look at the ingredients. This is an allulose erythritol blend, so this one is completely fine. But you could use like Swerve, you could use allulose, whatever you can find. Just make sure it is a keto-friendly. Again, carnivore, eliminate the sweetener if you don't want sweeteners in carnivore. The other optional ingredient, and I think this really takes it over the edge, is using a little bit of espresso powder. If you can't find that, you can even use like a little bit of instant coffee, but I would grind it up a little bit more so it's a finer texture than regular instant coffee. Let's get into how to make this. Okay, first thing you're going to do is add into a saucepan a 1/2 cup of almond milk and a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Then you're going to add in 2 ounces of cream cheese that is softened. So the best thing to do is just leave it out on the counter, or you can stick it in the microwave. Now finally, you're going to go ahead and add in a 1/2 cup of your favorite sweetener. And what you're going to do is you're going to have this on medium heat, and you're going to whisk it until your sweetener melts and all of the cream cheese melts and it gets warm, but you don't want it to boil. So make sure that you're constantly whisking it while it's melting down. Okay, so once everything is completely melted and it's warm and smooth, we can kind of stop and then move on to the next step. Okay, now what you're gonna do is in a mixing bowl, you're gonna take 3 eggs and an egg yolk, and you're gonna pour it in there. And sorry, we don't have an overhead camera right now because still like doing things in a makeshift kitchen. And you're gonna whisk it until it's completely blended. Now, once it is completely mixed, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add in a ½ teaspoon of vanilla, a ¼ teaspoon of salt, and then I like the espresso flavor, so we're gonna add in an ⅛ teaspoon of espresso powder.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, so once that's all combined, what we're gonna do is you're gonna keep whisking it, and we're going to slowly add in our milk mixture, and you wanna do this slowly and keep whisking so that
Don't cook the eggs?
you don't cook your eggs. Now, I do wanna say, if you only have one person, you don't have somebody to like add it in while you're whisking, one of these works really well because you can sit here and do this and whisk it while you're pouring it in with the other hand, because you're literally just gonna sit here and keep beating it until everything mixes really well. Okay, now that it's all combined, what we're gonna do is we're going to take some type of like a casserole pan, a baking pan, something like that. You need to have a little bit of a lip on there.
Ooh, is this gonna be a water bath?
And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in some molds. So I don't have any ramekins right now, so what we're gonna do is use these silicone like muffin tins, and they work really well. And we're just gonna place them in here. And then after that, what we're gonna do is we're going to pour our mixture into each one of them so that you have about the same amount for each one. Next thing we're gonna do is we're going to get some hot water and we're going to fill up this pan so that the water is halfway up your silicone molds or whatever your ramekins are. You basically, you don't want it all the way over to the top, you want it about halfway up. And now you're gonna take this, you're gonna place it into an oven that was preheated at 350 degrees, and you're gonna bake it for 30 to 35 minutes until the flan is set. It should be slightly jiggly in the middle, but a knife should come out clean.
All right, our flan is cooking. What are we supposed to do while we wait?
So flan for me has to have a caramel sauce across the top. So while this is cooking, we're gonna go ahead and make our caramel sauce. Now I do wanna say you can just go to the store and buy caramel sauce if you can find it. Like for example, RX Sugar makes a really good caramel sauce. Yes. I'll leave a link for it down below. We actually have some, but it's packed somewhere. So today we're just gonna make our own and I'm gonna show you how to do that. We only need a couple of simple ingredients, and this again is really, really easy to make. So what we're gonna need is some heavy cream. We're gonna need some brown sugar, like keto brown sugar. Now with this, I am gonna say, the easiest way to go about this is to get this. This is the Lakanto monk fruit sweetener with allulose, and it's literally like 50% brown erythritol,
right,
and 50% allulose.
It's very tasty.
But you could also get like a brown sugar, like a Lakanto just brown sugar, or like Swerve brown sugar, and then add in allulose, or you could use straight allulose. The only thing I am gonna say with the straight allulose is the flavor is gonna be just a little bit different. And also, it's not gonna be quite as sweet because allulose is only 70% as sweet as sugar. So for me, this is really the best option because you only need one ingredient. Next, you're gonna need some vanilla, and then salt, because like salted caramel, of course.
Yes.
And then you're going to need 4 tablespoons of butter. Okay, so again, in a saucepan on medium heat, what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in 4 tablespoons of butter, and we're gonna melt that down. So once all your butter is melted, what you're gonna do is you're gonna add in a ½ cup of your sweetener, and we're gonna keep mixing this until all of the sweetener melts. And you're gonna do this for about 3 or 4 minutes until it gets a nice golden brown color. Okay, now what you're gonna do is you're going to add in a ½ cup of heavy cream, and you're gonna mix this really well. And the key here is you don't want this heavy cream to boil, so you're gonna mix this for about a minute or so until everything mixes really well. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in about a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract.
It's just getting better.
And because I like salted caramel,
Yes.
we're gonna add in just like a little pinch of red mineral salt.
This is a candle. This is a candle smell.
Once you mix that well, you can go ahead and give it a little taste.
Oh, my pleasure.
And see if you wanna add in some more vanilla or some more salt.
That is so good.
What do you say?
Yes, that is delicious.
Oh, that's perfect.
It's perfect.
Okay, so now what you can do is you can just put this aside. And one thing I do want to say, this stores very well. So
yes,
you're going to have more than you need using this recipe for the top of your flan. But you can grab something like one of these little jars or something stored in here. You just have to keep it refrigerated because you do have butter and cream in here. But it stores very well, so you can keep it in the refrigerator, and whenever you want a little bit of caramel sauce, whether it's for the top of your flan, on top of French toast.
And it thickens up.
If you want to put it on some ice cream, something like that, this is the perfect thing to do. So now what we're going to do is just wait for the flan. So it's been 35 minutes. We just pulled it out of the oven. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a knife and we're going to check to see if it comes out clean, which it does. And what we're going to do now is we're going to let this cool down here on top of the oven for about 10 minutes. Now after it's done baking and you've let it cool for about 10 minutes, we're going to take this, we're going to put it into the refrigerator for a minimum of 2 hours before we serve it.
This is the hardest part.
Okay, so our flans have been refrigerated for a couple of hours. Now what we're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to turn it upside down. Now you actually don't even have to do that. You could just eat it right out of here. But for me, presentation is everything. So we're just going to take a little knife and we're going to kind of cut around the edge like that. And we're going to turn it upside down, give it a little tap. Oh. It should come out just like that.
Look at that beauty.
Then what we're going to do is we're going to take some Carmel sauce, pour it over the top.
Oh my gracious.
As little or as much as you want. And again, if you are doing carnivore, you're just skipping the caramel sauce.
Yeah.
And if you really want to up it up a notch, put a little bit of cocoa powder across the top.
So fancy.
Now we get to taste it.
This is the best part. I get lots of caramel sauce on mine. Dink.
Dink.
Mmm. Wow. Oh my goodness.
And you can see, look at how perfectly set that is. It is the perfect flan.
I know it's really hard to wait the 2.5 hours, but it definitely makes a texture difference.
Yeah, it really comes out perfect. And I do want to say this is a perfect dessert if you want to prepare something ahead of time because, again, you're going to keep it in the refrigerator and then at the last minute, you pour your caramel sauce over it. And the caramel sauce could either be warm or cold. That's completely up to you. And I really just think it really makes it adding the caramel sauce. Again, if you're doing carnivore, you don't have to add it. But I think it completely just turns it into a really, really decadent dessert. Oh. Now, we will leave a link for the recipe down below for our website, which we're still working on. So in the meantime, in the description down below is going to be the entire recipe completely spelled out for you. I also want to say you'll notice we did not put any macros or anything like that on here because it's going to be completely dependent on the ingredients you use. So if you're using, for example, Philadelphia cream cheese, the macros may be a little bit different than if you're using a Walmart brand cream cheese. Sure. It's going to be completely dependent on which sweeteners you use. So the best thing to do is grab your Cronometer app, put everything in there, and then figure it out per serving. For us, we get 6 servings out of this, but you could get 12 servings out of it. You could get 4 servings. A serving is whatever you want it to make. Now, let us know down in the comment section, is this a dessert that you have missed on keto? Again, this is a very keto-friendly thing to do. The basic ingredients are just amazing on keto. I mean, eggs, heavy cream, butter, cream cheese, they're all super keto friendly, and then it comes down to whatever sweeteners you want. Let us know down in the comment section. Now, while you're down there, please do us a favor, take a look at the video that we have linked right over here. Also, make sure you take a look at the most recent video that I'm gonna put right over here.
But whether you head this way or you head this way, don't forget to head this way. Subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon in that way. Every single time we're serving up something new, you'll be alerted to it.
Till next time.
Bye.